how to help with microcephaly and head control and what's going on with a lot of developmental issues. Now, what people don't realize, and this is for Lauren, so but I apologize too that I'm getting back to you so late. So when you're looking at an infant's skull, right, you will see a large area, the occipital area going into here, and you'll see a lot of open sutures. Now, all developmental movement or all developmental milestones is meant to happen before the skull fuses. When there's an immaturity in the skull fusion, meaning or prematurity, and or abnormalities due to different plagiocephalies, head shapes, including microcephaly, you will see an automatic deviation in development because the sutures are starting to fuse prematurely, right? Unfortunately, this should be more widely known, and that's what's going on. The second thing that is going on, again, if you look to where the spine should be going in, right? Now you and I can feel this in a second. You'll see like little knobs down at the bottom of the skull. You can see this again more clearly. This is a skull. I always lose the jaw on this guy. This is a skull of a 6-year-old with the buds coming in, right? But again, you'll see where the spine comes in, the back of the head where it's supposed to be. But in the bottom of the skull, and again, I'm not here to teach anatomy. It's just going to overwhelm parents. It's not the purpose of movement lesson. But that is what changes the spine from going with the body to counter it. The first bone, the atlas, is there to counter the spine. So it's one of the clearest signs of cerebral palsy is that you don't see that head-spine relationship and working on balance and counterbalance, no matter how they're doing, that you're seeing more the lag. So in your case, you don't have as much skull here, so the counter's impeded. But also too, when the skull gets flatter at the back, right, then unfortunately a baby can contract, or a child can contract that muscle. You and I cannot, if I ask you to tighten just these muscles right here, you can contract and do all of this around the neck. But there's certain muscles in the body you really have no control of because they're just meant there to just add and counter no matter where I balance. I always think of, and I say this all the time, it's like a big float at the Macy's Day Parade. You know, those big giant balloons where there's people below and they're sitting there. So the balloon keeps its absolute horizon, right, coming down. But there's people there with ropes to sit there and do those. Those are what some of the neck and spine muscles do, muscles behind the scapula. There are muscles that are just there to respond to skeletal articulation in regards to balance. One of the biggest problems with cerebral palsy is you don't have the skeletal articulation. The skeletal system can't move independently. And so, again, if you're looking for head lag, please, please, please don't keep testing for this. This is not what you do with the baby, especially in your situation, because it's always going to fail. And I'm going to tell you another trick that you weren't taught, and that's why you're here. So the one thing with head proportions, and so when you have true head proportions, right, the ear and the eyes line up in a baby. So when you have your hands here and so forth, they can see it. Now, I can't cut the back of my baby's skull off, but when you have microcephaly, I'm just going to do it at the edge of the table, and this is what you're seeing with your child. The eyes are coming above the ears. So when I'm like this, so that's actually why you're seeing this stiffness going down the arms, because again, out of sight, out of mind, I can't see my hands, and then you don't get the play skills, but again, the vision is not setting up with the rest of the body. So your first visual skills are in your absolute horizon, and then it goes eye-spine connection, and then eye-hand, right? So you're going to want to place your baby in a way that the eyes are more proportioned to the body, right? Here and here. And I'll tell you right now, guys, all of you lay down on the table, and you're going to look down, or the bed, and look up back like this. And I mean, look where those eyes are. You try and sit up. I'm telling you right now, it doesn't matter if you're Arnold Schwarzenegger, you're not going to sit up. For all of you that say, oh, I sat up, because your eyes suddenly went. But if your eyes stay back here, they'll never, and a lot of people, again, they see the severity of the CP. What they don't realize, your child's more CP because of the visual alignment and because of the head shape. And so we've got to tease, and this is where, again, all the cranial stuff I teach you, especially something as simple as a water bowl, comes into play so your child can work with that. So again, when your child's this way, excuse me for flopping my doll around, and I just did a video not too long about how do you pick your, but again, in this way is a non-functional movement. Non-functional mean this child will never be strong enough to sit up. And you'll always have the head lag because of where the vision is. So you're just going to scoop under. Hi, sweetheart. Let the eyes settle onto you. Now, because there's a little bit concerned of delayed visual maturation, I don't have the eye report, and you should have a good ophthalmologist working with you. But I want that, let them focus on you. Maybe again, get out the red lipstick or something like that, and then bring them up through their vision. Let them to start moving with their eyes. Everything that your child's doing, he's doing, is without the eyes. Now, on top of that, you do have a PMG. PMG, again, this is one of those things it's like brain trauma. We don't know what's going to happen. You got to act like it. Now, what it is it's extra folds within the brain, okay? Now, I have kiddos that are smart as buttons. They said they were never going to talk because that's where the folds were. And, you could look at the great Santino. He's got complications from his arthrogryposis, but certainly not from his PMG, pyromyalgia. So what you're looking at is, again, where the folds are. But I'm going to post another video that I did about working with the cranial and the CP. And it's the same thing, even though there's the brain trauma is there, but of what you're going on is looking for where the heaviness is within the head. And that's what I want you to start countering. So again, you have the smallness of the head, bringing the head back, but also the weight of the PMG. And that's where I want you to concentrate all your movements now. I would look at the head in the vision course or the swallow course, but more so just to start countering head movements in with the body. Right? And that's what you want to concentrate on first. Don't overwhelm yourself past that. But I would like to see your ophthalmologist report. And if you say you don't have one, you're going to an ophthalmologist as soon as you can. Not only do they have to check optic nerve and retinas for what's going on with the PMG, especially too, if you're about to do another MRI, they might want to ask for something specific for what the, corpus callosum. God, it's been a long day. I'm spinning my wheels. Anyway, not a good time to talk about anatomy. Anyway, the ophthalmologist might want to work with the neurologist to look at optic nerve or anything like that. If you're doing another MRI, you don't know, but you want a retinoscopy to be examining the eyes to make sure there's vision there. The other things you want to look at, and again, so corpus callosum, callosum. Why do I want to mix it with cholesterol? So anyway, with the corpus callosum, you already have an issue there. Again, that should have just put you up the food chain to get to an ophthalmologist because that's where the vision centers are at. And so I want to know is the white matter spots are transferring into breaks in vision within his eyes. Okay, and this is, you almost maybe want to go to a neuro-ophthalmologist, but that's something to look at with that. So we need to know how to stimulate the vision. The one last thing that I would suggest there is that before they dilate the eyes, check the visual contractions, the dilation. So what that means is, so when your eyes are focusing, and so let's say there's lights, right? So I have equal lights, so my eyes should be equal in their contractions. But if you take a light, like you can do off of a phone or whatever, but again, you're not a professional that way, but each eye should contract at the same speed when don't shine the light in the eye, put it around. But that's where they're looking at that. And they can tell better before the eyes are dilated, because if they're dilated, they're not checking the speed. But I think maybe it's just a little bit too slow on that. And with that, you want sunglasses going out, especially if you're going to tell me he's light sensitive. But it also can be uneven, just that contraction. And then we need to work with that. But that's what you're working on first. Again, sorry for the delay. Hi, Christina. And we'll go into it more if you have any questions. But meanwhile, let's get that done and get started on lessons. Because if you're looking for muscle strength, again, for the positionings that he wants to present in, he'll never be strong enough. And you won't either. like I said, just lie down and try and, this is where they had that old saying, walk a million miles in someone else's shoes, or walk a mile. And yeah, you'll really have that appreciation. I just have enough table time my hands have had that appreciation of what people go through. People were asking me today about, again, that, I just have this intuitive touch. I'm not trying to fix kids or you. I'm really trying to appreciate your movements in your system. And when I feel a movement that it's like, let's go. And that's what I try to bring out. I'm the Rubik's Cube solver for develop. I can touch a baby and just, I did it with an adult not too long ago. He's like, asked, oh, have I broken any bones? I said, besides what you smashed in that hand, I said, well, let's go down on the knees and ankles. I just freaked him out, thought I was just some kind of psychic. I just feel movement. I just have a vocabulary of movement. I see movement. But so that's that. But those are the things. It's really comes down to positioning, but it doesn't matter what position you put him in right now. Now he has to learn how to move in those positions, and that's where you come into play, and as a carer and to help with that. So let me know if you have any questions, and I'll go from there. Thanks.